Hello and welcome to In This Corner TV. I'm James Smith in Las Vegas at the training headquarters of Bad Chad Dawson, the best light heavyweight fighter in the world, as he readies for Andre Ward September the 8th in Oakland, Andre's hometown, at a $168, Andre's weight. We had the opportunity to speak to Chad and his trainer, Ice John Scully. I think boxing certainly owes you and Andre for taking this fight, but I want to talk about the concessions that you've made fighting in his hometown of Oaktown and at a $168. Let's start out with the 168. Usually a guy that's been a champion longer, that's a tiny bit older, and that's larger, you know, it's usually the other guy that comes up. Why are you going down?
First of all, I don't believe the fight would have happened if it was the other way around. So, you know, I've always had intentions on going back down to the 168-pound weight class. You know, Andre was a great fight, you know, a great fighter, and I praise him for taking the fight. And everything was done so smoothly due to the fact that I was willing to do everything that was asked of me, which is go to his hometown, which was to drop down to 168 pounds. We could have did a catch weight, but they didn't want to budge on that. So I went ahead and said, hey, I'll do 68. It doesn't matter. And that's what great fighters do. You know, if you want to make a name in the sport and you want to be known for doing great things and have people recognize you as a great champion and not being afraid to go to someone's hometown to face them. I mean, those are things you have to do, and that's what I'm doing.
Well, you're working with a new guy. He's been in your corner a couple of fights now. John Scully, tell us about that relationship with Ice John Scully, who we'll talk to shortly.
He knows me just as well as anybody else knows me. Any trainer, anybody knows me. Due to the fact that we've been around each other so long, we worked with each other early in my career. You know, I think we're like now about 5-0 together, and that's counting back maybe 5 years ago. So, I mean, just to have somebody in your corner who you know so good and know he has your back, this is a great feeling.
He kind of initially wanted to go back to what we used to do before, years ago. You know, his basics, you know, what he's good at. I don't know the ins and outs of it all. I never talked to him about it really, but I know that people wanted to make him more exciting or more of a puncher, more of these things. And I've always been a strict believer that you have to work with what you have, like what you're good at. And, you know, Muhammad Ali, as Cassius Clay, he fought how he fought. That's it. Mayweather does what he does. Chad has to do what he does. All the things that make him exceptional.
You've trained with Floyd Sr. and Eddie. Do you take a little bit out of each camp or out of each guy?
Definitely. Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, great trainer. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from him, a lot. But at the end of the day, you have to go and you have to be comfortable with your career and be comfortable with the people that surround you. So, you know, the decision I made to go back with John Scully, I think it was a great decision, and it still is a great decision. And, you know, I'm looking for nothing but the best for the future.
September the 8th, he fights Andre Ward in Oakland. Chad's been on the road before. He's not going to concern himself with that. But the $168, is that a concern to you?
I mean, here's my thing. When it first happened, I talked to Axel, his strength coach. Axel knows much more about it than I do in terms of Chad's body and the ins and outs of how to make weight. And he assured me that it was not a problem. And since we've been in camp for this fight, you know, I've picked up on little things and I've noticed things compared to other camps, and it doesn't appear that it's going to be an issue.
And plus he's got again, unlike, I don't know if when you fought like I did, well, you had to weigh in on the day of. I don't know whether you go back that far, but he's got a day to rehydrate. So, well, you have to surround yourself with talent. Now, when it comes to hands, Mr. Handman Extraordinaire, the only guy in the building older than me, well, what does Rafael bring to the table?
Oh, he keeps me healthy, keeps my hands good. You know, he's in the gym with me every day. You know, he's letting me know what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right. You know, it's good to have somebody like Rafael. He's a veteran. He's been around great fighters. You know, he works with the best fighter in the world, Floyd Mayweather. So, I mean, just to have him here and I'm willing to work with me after all these years. You know, we've been together. He's still around, and you know, it's more like a father-son relationship too, because you know I love him just as much as he loves me.
You mean grandfather with him, right? Yeah.
No, this guy's young, man. I mean,
he looks.
This guy's
to the young boxer out there watching this interview, how important, you know, what he's doing, and how important these are your weapons. These are your. Explain how important this type of situation and prepping the hands are.
I mean, it's very important. You know, you got a big fight coming up. The last thing you want to happen is something to happen to your hands. So, you know, every day he's here wrapping my hands, making sure that my hands are good, making sure that nothing happens to my hands. They look like casts, you know, so my hands are well protected every day, you know, so going into the fight, everything will be good.
No doubt he is the best in the business. Andre Ward is a very good fighter. He hasn't lost in something like 16 years. You see any weaknesses in him?
Yes, I do. And it's funny for me to say that, like, and I always go to the Hopkins fight. When I watch fighters, I watch as a fan. So when I watch Hopkins, I go, wow, this guy's good. It's unbelievable what he did with Pavlik and what he did with Tarver, and it's just amazing what he did with Trinidad. But when we got the fight, I started watching it from a different perspective. And it's amazing what I saw, the different mistakes he was making, and I'm like, wow, like I never noticed this as a fan. I never noticed it. The same thing with Andre Ward. Everybody is so high on Andre Ward, and understandably so. He's beating good guys, but he makes mistakes. I mean, very blatant mistakes that because he's successful, nobody calls him on it.
Let's talk about Andre Ward. What do you think of him as a fighter?
Great fighter, good all-around fighter. Does great things in the ring, and that's the reason I wanted this fight. You know, we're both young, we're both champions in our divisions, and that's what makes for a great fight. You know, two young guys willing to go in and not protect their records. You know, we're just willing to go in there and put it all on the line, and that's what we're doing.
In terms of, do you see any weaknesses in him as a fighter?
Every fighter has a weakness. It's all about finding that weakness and exposing that weakness. I've seen things. My trainer's seen things, and you know the things that we did see. You know, we don't want to focus on the things that he does great. We want to focus on the things that he doesn't do. So, at the end of the day, on the night of the fight, we want to make him have to deal with us, as opposed to us dealing with him. You know, we want to make him deal with my height, my reach, my hand speed, and just me being an all-around, just pure boxer. So we want to make him deal with that, and we'll see what happens.
You know, the late great Bert Sugar paid me a great compliment one time when he said that I have among the best eyes in boxing. And somebody asked me the other day, you know, because I've had you on my pound-for-pound list for a long, long time. They said, well, what about a weakness in Chad Dawson? I said, let me think. I don't think he has a major weakness, but if I would critique Chad at all, it would be that sometimes during a fight, he might take some time during a round or even a round off that he shouldn't. Fair criticism?
Yeah, that's fair criticism. I hear that a lot. And the thing, funny that you mentioned it, because I mean that's something I noticed too. But it's just a mental thing, you know. It's something that, you know, I might have a nice lead, and I know I have a nice lead, so I take the foot off the pedal. You know, when everybody else expects me to put my foot on the pedal, I back off. But you know, that's not gonna play a role in this fight right here. And I'm in great shape. I got into camp early. We're going into this is our 5th week of training camp. You know, we're 4 weeks out, so I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better. You know, Ward's been on for a year. You know, I fought 2 months ago. If
I'm asked about Andre Ward, I don't think he does anything great. I think he does a lot of stuff good. Yeah. One of the things he does is he puts pressure on and he keeps it the entire 12 rounds. So it'll be important to stay busy and stay alert, won't it, and focus the entire time.
Exactly. That's how we got the sparring partners we have. Great sparring partners, good hand speed, good feet. So guys that'll keep me aware, and you know, guys that you can't fall back and take a break on. You have to keep, and you have to watch them at all times. So that's going to play a major role in the fight, and we know that. So that's what we're working on. At
this point in your career, you've been a pro about 11 years, I think. A number of titles. You probably more or as much as anybody. You don't duck anybody, that's for damn sure. You take on everybody. When you get a fight like this, do you train for the opponent, or do you train Chad Dawson to be the best he can be? Or a little bit of both?
Well, it's a little bit of both. You know, with this fight, you know, you want to train, you know, I want to train to be myself, and that's what I'm doing, to be myself. But at the same time, you have to, with a guy like Andre Ward, you have to break him down. You have to watch him. You have to, you know all of his weaknesses, all of his strengths. So, you know, that's what we've been working on all camp, breaking down his weaknesses and looking at the things that he does good and try to take that away from him. All right, tell us what's going to happen on September the 8th against Andre Ward. Chad Dawson, 12-round decision. There you go. The baddest light heavyweight on the planet with the baddest interviewer on the planet. Thanks for joining us. Best of luck, champ. Thank you for having me.